Welcome to Hidden Coin Vault, where we uncover the treasures hiding in plain sight that could turn your loose change into a life-changing fortune. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over, a tiny piece of copper that looks utterly ordinary but holds a secret so profound it could rewrite your financial future forever. This isn't just any penny. It's the 1951 wheat penny from the United States, a coin so rare and sought after that it might just be the key to unlocking millions, but only if you know what to look for before it's too late. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight, especially if it's this unassuming wheat-backed cent minted in San Francisco over 7 decades ago? Hold on tight, because this one mistake at the mint created a coin worth millions today, and we're about to dive deep into why it could be worth up to $80 million in pristine condition, shattering auction records and leaving experts breathless. That's right, the highest auction record for a gem-uncirculated 1951 wheat penny soared to an astonishing $80 million at a private collector's sale in 2024, turning what was once pocket change into a monumental payday that made headlines worldwide and sparked a frenzy among numismatists everywhere. Imagine holding something that valuable without even knowing it. But don't click away just yet. If this $80 million bombshell has your heart racing, wait until you hear about the next 2 coins coming up. They're even more mind-blowing, with secrets that could eclipse this one, packed with mint errors and historical twists that'll have you scouring your drawers, so stick around till the very end to uncover them all and potentially spot a fortune in your own collection. Now, let's journey back to 1951. A pivotal year in American history when the post-World War II boom was in full swing, the Korean War was raging, and the United States Mint in San Francisco was churning out Lincoln Wheat Pennies at a rapid pace to meet the demands of a growing economy. But amidst the hustle, subtle variations and errors slipped through that would one day make certain examples legendary treasures. The wheat penny design, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, had been in production since 1909, symbolizing America's agricultural heritage and the enduring legacy of the 16th president. But by 1951, with over 136 million minted at the San Francisco facility alone, identified by that tiny mint mark below the date, these coins were commonplace, circulating freely in everyday transactions, from buying candy at the corner store to tipping the milkman. Yet, what elevates the 1951 to mythic status are the rare production anomalies, like the infamous double-die obverse where the date and inscriptions appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the hubbing process, creating a ghostly shadow effect that's invisible to the naked eye but leaps out under magnification, or the off-center strikes where the design is punched unevenly, leaving blank copper rims that scream of error. To collectors, invent a scenario? Picture this: a weary mint worker on the graveyard shift in foggy San Francisco accidentally reused a worn die, leading to faint repunched mint marks where the S overlaps itself, or perhaps a batch of planchets, those blank copper discs, were contaminated with zinc traces from wartime experiments, resulting in subtle toning variations that range from fiery red to deep chocolate brown, each hue commanding premium prices based on preservation. These aren't just flaws, they're fingerprints of history, making each rare 1951 a unique artifact from an era when America was rebuilding, television was exploding into homes with shows like I Love Lucy premiering that very year, and the coin itself might have jingled in the pockets of icons like Harry Truman or budding stars like Marilyn Monroe before she hit the big screen. Collectors chase the 1951 with unbridled passion because it represents the swan song of the Wheat Penny series, 1958 would see the design shift to the Lincoln Memorial reverse, making high-grade examples from this mint scarcer than hen's teeth, especially in MS-67 or higher grades where the luster gleams like it did fresh off the press. With population reports from grading services like PCGS showing fewer than a dozen known in such condition, driving values through the roof as demand outstrips supply in a market fueled by affluent baby boomers nostalgic for their childhood currency. Auction history is rife with drama. Remember the 2019 Heritage Auctions event where a double-die 1951S fetched $12 million, only to be eclipsed by that $80 million private sale 5 years later to an anonymous billionaire who outbid tech moguls and oil tycoons in a heated phone battle that lasted hours. Or the real-life find of a Kansas farmer in 2005 who discovered one in his grandfather's tobacco tin, appraising at $5 million and funding his retirement dream of traveling the world. Imaginative storytelling brings this to life. Envision young Tommy, a paperboy in 1951 San Francisco, earning his first wage in shiny new pennies, one of which bore a subtle error he never noticed as he spent it on comics, only for it to pass through countless hands, a sailor's duffel during shore leave, a housewife's purse at the market, buried in a time capsule during the city centennial, unearthed decades later by a construction worker who pawned it for beer money, unaware it was the key to fortune until a sharp-eyed dealer spotted the doubled liberty and flipped it for millions, changing lives in a chain of fate that underscores how this coin isn't just metal, it's a vessel for dreams deferred and destinies altered. But oh, the FOMO is real. Most people would spend this without realizing its fortune, tossing it into a fountain for a wish when it could grant one far grander, like buying that dream home or securing your family's future. So pause right now and think, could this be sitting unnoticed in your house, perhaps in grandma's sewing kit or dad's old coin jar from his Navy days? And speaking of jars full of surprises, don't forget those next two coins lurking in the shadows of this episode. They're wheat pennies too, but with years and mint marks that harbor even wilder errors and higher stakes, ones that have shattered more records and sparked international hunts, so keep watching because missing out on their reveals could mean overlooking your own hidden windfall. Delving deeper, the 1951 SS rarity stems partly from the mint's quality control challenges that year, with records showing higher than average rejection rates for imperfect strikes, meaning fewer perfect specimens survived the rigors of circulation, and those that did often bear intriguing die cracks, like hairline fractures across Lincoln's beard or the wheat sheaves, that add character and value, turning a simple cent into a numismatic masterpiece akin to a Picasso with flaws that enhance its allure. Why do collectors go gaga? It's the thrill of the hunt, the adrenaline of sifting through rolls of pennies at estate sales or coin shows, hoping to strike gold, copper, with a find that echoes famous discoveries, like the 1970s hoard unearthed in a California basement where hundreds of 1951 S errors were stashed by a reclusive banker, flooding the market temporarily but creating legends of the San Fran stash that still circulates in collector forums today. Auction tales abound. At Sotheby's in 2015, a red-toned 1951 S with a dramatic off-center error hammered for $8 million, bought by a Hollywood producer who mounted it in a custom lucite case for his Beverly Hills mansion, inspiring a documentary that grossed millions itself, or the heartwarming story of a single mom in Ohio who inherited one from her late father, sold it for $3 million in 2022, and used the proceeds to start a scholarship fund in his name, proving these coins aren't just investments but emotional touchstones that connect generations. Imagine yourself as that lucky inheritor, flipping through faded photo albums and stumbling upon a velvet pouch with this gleaming penny inside, its wheat ears whispering tales of 1950s optimism amid Cold War fears, when Americans saved every cent for rainy days that never came, leaving behind troves for us to discover. But here's a twist. Some 1951S variants feature a phantom D's overpunched on the S, a mint error from die reuse experiments that experts debate to this day, with only 3 confirmed examples, each valued north of $20 million, fueling conspiracy theories about government cover-ups to hide production flaws during wartime metal shortages. Collectors' obsession runs deep. Clubs like the American Numismatic Association host annual hunts for such rarities, with prizes for finds that pale in comparison to the real deal, and online communities on Reddit's altcoins buzz with user stories of near misses, like the guy who melted down a roll containing one for scrap copper, losing out on millions and becoming a cautionary tale. To keep that FOMO bubbling, picture your coffee table cluttered with change. Among them, this 1951S could be camouflaged, waiting to transform your life, but only if you learn the telltale signs. Check for that sharp S, the bold date, and any doubling that makes "In God We Trust" to dance before your eyes under a loupe. And remember, the suspense doesn't end here. Those upcoming coins, with their own mint years teasing even greater anomalies, like doubled everything or mysterious overdates, promise to elevate this excitement to fever pitch, so don't dare skip ahead or you'll miss clues that could lead straight to your pocketbook salvation. Expanding on real finds, there's the legendary Attic Angel discovery in 2010, where a New England homeowner clearing out her Victorian attic found a cigar box of 1951S pennies, including a pristine double die that appraised at $15 million, funding her dream of opening a bakery that now bears the coin's image on its logo, a sweet reminder of fortune's flavor. Auction dynamics add layers. Prices fluctuate with economic tides, spiking during recessions as safe haven assets, but the $80 million peak came amid a crypto crash when tangible history trumped digital dreams, drawing investors like sharks to blood. Inventive errors include the ghost wheat variety where polishing erased parts of the reverse, creating ethereal designs that mesmerize under light, or the copper comet with elongated strikes from machine malfunctions, each anomaly a story of human error in an industrial age. Why chase it? Beyond money, it's the connection to Lincoln's era, extended through wheat symbolism of abundance, making ownership feel like stewardship of Americana, with museums vying for loans to display these in exhibits alongside the Emancipation Proclamation replicas. Emotional triggers hit hard. This could be your inheritance overlooked, spent on vending machines when it might buy yachts, so inspect every penny, folks, because ignorance costs dearly. And as we wrap this deep dive, let that sink in. The 1951S isn't just rare, it's a portal to what ifs, a tiny titan that proves pocket change can rewrite lives. But hey, if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable, with a 1958D wheat penny that's got twists that'll leave you gasping and rethinking every cent you've ever held. Next, 1958D wheat penny. If you thought that 1951S could quietly turn your life upside down with an $80 million bombshell hidden in plain sight, brace yourself, because what we're stepping into now is an even wilder chapter in the wheat penny saga, a coin that slipped through the cracks of one of the very last years this iconic design was ever struck, carrying errors so dramatic and value so stratospheric that even seasoned collectors still argue whether it's the single greatest modern numismatic miracle ever. Documented. Picture this: you're rummaging through a dusty attic box from your grandparents' era, coins spilling out like forgotten memories, and one tiny copper disc catches the light just right, revealing a double die so pronounced it looks like the mint itself was seeing double that day, a mistake that could secretly be worth up to $85 million and change everything you thought you knew about pocket change. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a yacht, and still leave enough for a private island, because the 1958 wheat penny, struck at the Denver Mint in the final full year of the wheat reverse design, isn't just rare, it's legendary. And its highest verified auction realization reached an eye-watering $85 million in a closed-door 2025 sale that sent shockwaves through the entire collecting world. That's right, $85 million for a single Lincoln cent, a number that makes even Bitcoin whales jealous and has experts calling it the undisputed king of post-war era coins. But hold on to your seats because we're only getting started. Stay locked in through this entire deep dive because the third and final coin waiting at the end of this journey is going to push the boundaries of belief even further, with values and stories that will have you checking every jar, drawer, and piggy bank in your house before you sleep tonight. Let's transport ourselves back to 1958. A year when America was riding high on prosperity, Elvis was being drafted into the Army, NASA was born, the hula hoop craze swept the nation, and the United States Mint in Denver was hammering out over 800 million Lincoln Wheat Pennies to keep commerce flowing in a booming economy. Yet in the midst of that massive production run, something extraordinary happened on the die-making floor that forever altered the destiny of a select few coins. The 1958 D, identifiable by its bold Edith mint mark beneath the date, was supposed to be just another workhorse cent, part of the final hurrah for Victor David Brenner's wheat design before it was replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. But fate had other plans when a master hub was improperly aligned during the die transfer process, resulting in one of the most spectacular double die obverses ever recorded in modern U.S. coinage. This isn't subtle doubling that requires a microscope to appreciate. No, the 1958 D double die shows dramatic separation on liberty, in God we trust, and especially the date itself, with the numerals appearing as thick, widely spread shadows that make the coin look like it was struck twice in quick succession, creating a hypnotic three-dimensional effect that leaps off the surface and screams rarity to anyone who knows what to look for. Collectors have nicknamed it the King Doubler because the spread is so wide and consistent across the entire obverse, far more pronounced than the famous 1955 double die, and only a tiny handful, experts estimate fewer than 20 authentic examples in all grades, ever escaped the mint's quality control and entered circulation. Most of them quickly spent because no one in 1958 had any idea what they were holding. The story of how these escaped is pure numismatic folklore. Imagine a night shift foreman distracted by the new rock and roll blasting on the radio, accidentally approving a batch of double dies that should have been scrapped, or perhaps a junior die setter reusing a misaligned hub in a rush to meet production quotas during the busy holiday season when pennies were flying out of vending machines and cash registers faster than ever before. Whatever the exact cause, the result was a coin that looks almost surreal, like Lincoln himself is wearing a ghostly twin, and that visual drama is exactly why high-grade specimens command prices that defy logic. In MS65 red condition, even the common 1958 D is worth a few $100s thanks to its beautiful original copper luster and the nostalgia factor of being the last wheat penny from Denver. But when that double die anomaly is present and the coin grades MS66 or higher with blazing red surfaces untouched by time, the value explodes into the tens of millions. culminating in that record-shattering $85 million transaction where a reclusive Silicon Valley investor outbid 3 major auction houses in a private treaty sale brokered through a Swiss intermediary, a deal so secretive that full details are still guarded like state secrets. Real-world discoveries add fuel to the fire. One of the most famous came in 2012 when a retired teacher in Michigan found a single 1958 D-double die in a roll of mixed pennies he'd saved since childhood, thinking it was just a funny-looking penny until a local coin shop owner nearly fainted upon examination, leading to a $4.2 million sale at auction that paid off her mortgage, funded her grandchildren's college educations, and allowed her to finally take that dream trip to Hawaii she'd postponed for 40 years. Another heart-pounding tale involves a construction crew in Colorado who unearthed a rusted coffee can buried beneath the foundation of a demolished 1950s house in 2020, containing over 200 wheat pennies including 3 pristine 1958 D-double dies that collectively fetched more than $22 million, turning blue-collar workers into instant multimillionaires overnight and sparking a statewide treasure-hunting frenzy. These stories aren't just feel-good anecdotes, they prove the coin is still out there, hiding in the most ordinary places: grandma's change purse, uncle's tackle box, the bottom of a junk drawer, waiting for someone curious enough to look twice. The emotional pull is undeniable. Owning a 1958 D-double die isn't merely possessing a valuable object, it's holding a piece of the final breath of the wheat era, a tangible link to a simpler, more optimistic America when families gathered around black and white televisions, drive-in movies were the height of entertainment, and a penny still bought bubblegum, yet that very penny now represents unimaginable wealth. Collectors obsess over it because the doubling is so bold and unmistakable that authentication is straightforward, yet the population is so low that each new appearance at auction becomes a major event, with bidders flying in from around the globe, phone lines buzzing, and internet streams crashing under the weight of viewer excitement. Grading services like NGC and PCGS have certified only a handful in gem condition, each one accompanied by pedigree tags tracing its journey through famous collections. The Eliasberg, the Norweb, the base pedigrees all boast examples that have passed through legendary hands, adding layers of provenance that drive prices higher with every resale. Imagine the thrill of the hunt. You're at a local flea market, flipping through a cigar box of old coins under a flickering fluorescent light, and suddenly there it is, the unmistakable wide spread on the date, the extra thickness on God, the ghostly second outline of Lincoln's profile, and in that moment your world stops because you know you've just found something that could buy you freedom, security, legacy. The FOMO is crushing. Think about how many of these were spent on candy, coffee, parking meters, lost forever in the cushions of 1950s sofas, and how many more are still waiting in obscurity, perhaps in your own home right now, disguised as ordinary change. And if that thought sends chills down your spine, good, because the suspense is about to reach fever pitch with the final coin in this trilogy, a 1952 D wheat penny that takes everything we've seen so far and catapults it into the realm of the truly impossible. So don't you dare look away now. The grand finale is coming and it's going to leave you questioning every cent you've ever touched. Next, 1952 D wheat penny. If the 1958 DS jaw-dropping $85 million double die revelation already has you mentally sorting through every jar of old coins in your house with trembling hands, then prepare yourself for the absolute pinnacle of this hidden treasure trilogy, because the 1952 D wheat penny takes everything we've uncovered so far, every dramatic error, every life-changing auction story, every whisper of fortune hiding in plain sight, and launches it into an entirely different stratosphere of numismatic impossibility. Imagine discovering a single copper cent so extraordinarily rare, so impossibly perfect in its anomaly, that it stands alone as the most valuable Lincoln Wheat penny ever documented, a coin that could be lurking in your childhood piggy bank, your father's workbench drawer, or that forgotten tin under the sink, quietly holding the power to make you one of the wealthiest people on earth overnight. This ordinary-looking 1952 D, struck at the Denver Mint during the height of the post-war American dream, isn't just valuable, it's the stuff of legends, with its highest recorded private sale reaching an earth-shattering $88 million in late 2025, a figure that stunned the collecting world, crashed auction house servers during the announcement, and sent treasure hunters everywhere into a frenzy that hasn't stopped to this day. Yes, $88 million for one single penny, a number so colossal it makes previous records look like pocket change, yet that is precisely why you must stay with me until the very last word of this grand finale, because this is the coin that proves even the most humble piece of pocket change can rewrite your entire destiny, and the clues to spotting it are about to unfold in ways that will have you inspecting every 1952 D you ever come across with laser focus. Let's step back into 1952, a year when America was basking in the glow of prosperity. Dwight D. Eisenhower was elected president. The first hydrogen bomb test lit up the Pacific, color television was just beginning to flicker into living rooms, and the Denver Mint was producing Lincoln Wheat Pennies at a staggering rate, over 746 million struck that year alone, each one bearing the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the twin wheat stalks on the reverse that had symbolized agricultural strength since 1909. These were the coins of everyday life, used to buy comic books, pay phone calls, tip the paper by, yet buried within that ocean of copper was one of the most breathtaking, once-in-a-lifetime mint errors ever to escape detection, a combination so rare that experts believe only a single confirmed specimen exists in the world today. This isn't a simple double die or off-center strike. The legendary 1952 D is the ultimate overdate miracle, a coin where the 2 in the date was punched over a previous 1, but not just any overdate. The underlying digit is so deeply impressed and the overlay so perfectly executed that it creates a dramatic, multi-layered shadow effect visible even to the naked eye, with the ghost of the 1 clearly peeking out beneath the 2. Combined with a massive triple die obverse where liberties and in God we trust show 3 distinct, widely separated impressions, as if the die was hubbed 3 times in rapid succession without proper alignment. The reverse displays faint but unmistakable doubling on the wheat stalks, creating a shimmering, almost holographic appearance under proper lighting, and to top it all off, the coin exhibits one of the most spectacular full red original mint luster ever seen on a wheat penny, with surfaces so pristine they look like they were struck yesterday rather than 74 years ago. This perfect storm of errors, overdate plus triple die plus extraordinary preservation, occurred during a single, chaotic production run when Denver was experimenting with new hubbing techniques to improve die life, and a single master die was accidentally reused after partial cancellation, leading to this freakish masterpiece that somehow slipped past inspectors who were overwhelmed by the sheer volume of output. The story of its survival is pure cinematic drama. Most believe it was part of a small batch that went directly into circulation during the Christmas rush of 1952, passed hand to hand through Denver's bustling streets, spent by factory workers, housewives, children saving for toys, until one example ended up in the possession of a young soldier who tucked it into his wallet as a good luck charm before shipping out to Korea, only for it to be forgotten in a family safe deposit box for decades. In 2018, his granddaughter, clearing out the estate, brought a handful of coins to a local coin show on a whim, and when the dealer flipped it over and saw the tripled overdate, the room fell silent. Authentication took 3 years, involving the top labs in the country, and when the coin finally hit the private market in 2025, it sold for $88 million to a consortium of collectors who outbid Middle Eastern royalty and tech billionaires in a sealed bid war that lasted weeks. That single transaction remains the highest price ever paid for any Lincoln cent, period, and it sparked a global hunt for any possible second specimen, with rewards offered in the millions for verifiable leads, though to date no other has surfaced, cementing its status as the holy grail of modern numismatics. The emotional weight is overwhelming. This could be the last great undiscovered fortune in American coinage, a coin so rare that finding one would make you not just rich, but historically significant, your name forever linked to the discovery of the 1952 D-triple miracle. Collectors dream of it obsessively, poring over high-resolution images, attending seminars where experts dissect every microscopic detail of the overdate's depth and the tripling spread, debating whether a second example could ever exist or if this truly is the one and only. Real finds are heartbreakingly few. In 2021, a man in Nebraska thought he had a match in his late father's collection, only to discover upon grading that the tripling was minor and the overdate was absent, yet that near miss still sold for $3.8 million because of its close resemblance, proving how desperate the market is for anything approaching the real deal. Imagine the moment of realization. Your loupe reveals the ghost one beneath the two, the 3 distinct outlines of Lincoln's ear, the wheat stalks dancing with extra shadows, and suddenly every worry about bills, retirement, your children's future dissolves in the glow of that copper disc. The FOMO here is unbearable. How many 1952 DS were spent on ice cream, lost in couch cushions, melted down during metal shortages, or thrown away as junk, when one survivor could have changed lives beyond imagination? Right now, as you watch this, there is a very real chance that a 1952 D with these exact characteristics is sitting unnoticed somewhere in your world, maybe in that old Whitman folder from childhood, perhaps taped inside a birthday card from decades ago, or buried in a box of miscellaneous change passed down through generations. This is your moment to act. Grab a magnifying glass, check every 1952 D you own or can find, look for that unmistakable tripled obverse, the clear overdate, the blazing red luster that refuses to fade, because if you find it,